In this section, we'll talk services and how they're not just guided by 4P's, but 7P's. So just a reminder that services will have different kinds of marketing mix considerations compared to more traditional durable or non-durable goods like boxes of cereal or washing machines. Services are intangible, where they often have less direct sensory components, inseparable, where the production of service is done closely in time, space to consumption, inconsistent, where it's very hard to maintain the same level of service from counter to counter, often because people are involved, and inventory. Services can't usually be stored. There's major issues with capacity and matching up supply and demand. Recall from our last product presentation, a major component of services is the way customers just have much more trouble evaluating them. Unlike a good, there's less likely to be some kind of focal, tangible, material thing to focus on to determine that quality and experience. So keep that in mind as we looked at the 7P's of service. So we will be going over two examples, a grocery store and a new concept called an escape room. And feel free to insert your own examples as you go along. And so we'll be doing kind of a case study, almost style type issue. Well, not case study, but just looking at those two examples in depth, as well as other side examples. And so many of you are studying services for your project, so take note of these. Just to help, because I know that some of these are a bit deep and thick, these is the major takeaways for each of them: product, price, place, promotion, people, physical environment, and process. Listen to the next set of examples if you'd like, or do both. Find examples for each of yourself. So take an example, or you can listen to my examples to get a better sense of what I'm talking about, or come up with your own example for this section. So key idea is that services are a lot like more generic goods, but that they're just distinct differences that inform how we have to approach our marketing mix. So here goes. Let's dive deep. So product for a service is the primary value rendered to the customer through activities versus that tangible good. In the case of the grocery store, they act as retailers, wherein they offer a variety of groceries for sale in one place and other services. No need to go to each cereal company, dairy, or farmer to get your food. They have an assortment of food products where you want them. In the case of an escape room, their service is an experience. An escape room is a game of sorts where a group of people, usually they know each other, are locked in a room where they have to solve a series of puzzles set by the makers within a time frame. The challenge is in working together to get out. It's like you're in a living video game where all the clues and items needed to get out are there for you. You just need to figure out. So two big differences between goods and services are, first, services are easier to copy. Goods are easy to patent, where you can keep someone from copying your good. Services are not. You can trademark certain things, such as your brand logo. That's only if you're able to establish it and defend it in time. The core service itself can still be copied by anyone. This makes branding very important for the services-based firm, establishing an identity and cultivating a sense that the service provider is unique will maintain the loyalty of those customers. Service providers must instead figure out ways then to differentiate themselves from each other. For example, an escape room may seek to be known for having more logic puzzles, or always having rooms with more geeky themes, such as Mario and Harry Potter, so that people who have a sense of these interests are more likely to know to look into your rooms. Next big idea, or rather issue of products, is intangibility. Services as a product form are much more difficult for customers to describe and envision. Much of the value delivered is through performance, which can be hard for customers and marketers alike to communicate. Services therefore have to, again, figure out more tangible ways customers can remember the type of service they render. So that's why grocery stores will stress the bounty of offerings and a smiling employee. Escape rooms will stress stories that you might be more familiar with. Just stress what's it all about, like you're auditioning to be Detective Holmes' new assistant. And so you get the idea of solving and looking for clues. This is why they may also do things like show you a preview of a room, such as an ad here by Escape Room LA. Price. Price, as always, is that which the customer gives up in exchange for the product. Normally, we think of it in terms of money, but pricing also includes things like method of payment, timing of payment, and so on. As a reminder, pricing is not just a matter of collecting revenue. Price can be used as a tangible clue, a clue of sorts customers might use to evaluate quality. Customers have a sense of what they think something's worth. Too high and they might be disappointed or even decline the buy. Too low a price and customers might be happy or they become suspicious of the service. So there are three major differences in pricing services versus goods. So first of all, firms need to figure out what is their primary service unit. So whereas for goods, you usually have a discrete measurement for the good, like 1 bag of Skittles, 1 cookie, 1 gallon of gasoline. Will you charge by time or per hour instead? For the service, will you charge according to a particular service, such as 1 dental cleaning, 1 admission to a park, 1 complete haircut? Perhaps you generate revenue by a markup that is built into the goods that customers buy. So the restaurants and grocery stores do that. This is largely based on customers' expectations and the type of service you render. Number 2, firms need to figure out what other secondary services or goods to bundle with that primary service unit. Alongside the unit, you also can determine what types of secondary services might be included in the primary unit. If not, will you offer those secondary services? Do you offer those additional options if they're willing to pay an extra fee? So airlines differentiate based on how they bundle secondary services, such as the baggage you can bring, snacks to buy versus those that come automatically with your flight, and so on. Finally, pricing for services is different because it can have a major impact on your ability to engage in inventory, that is capacity management. You likely remember from basic econ, or economics that is, that price goes up, customer demand goes down. Price goes down, customer demand tends to go up. You can therefore use your price to impact demand. For example, Big Bear's off-season tends to be in spring and fall, where it's too cold to do the warm weather stuff, but too hot where there's no snow. Hotels and rental homes therefore might try to price their rates much lower to encourage customers to come during that off-season. Theme parks have recently turned to this tool by charging more for tickets sold on days that are projected to be high-demand days, and charging less for admission where customers go during low-demand days. So for example, grocery stores make their money off of markups on the merchandise you buy from. They also tend to accept many forms of payment, like cash, check, credit cards, gift cards, so on. Different policies as well on things like coupons. Grocery stores, average price can be used to differentiate yourself. So one grocery store might stress their extreme low prices and great sales. Others may stress higher average prices but better quality and good value. There's different ways they incorporate price promotions, so temporary price changes. So, for example, it can be used as a point of difference or inventory management tool. And you might have agreements with manufacturers to do certain types of promotions at certain times. This one's an example of everyday low pricing. That means they spurn sales, but price is lower on average on all products such that the customer should see the total cost of their entire basket to be lower on average than, say, for a place that offers deeper sales. On the other hand, escape rooms. Escape rooms priced by 1 entry per person. 1 entry accounts for the pre-room briefing, entry into the room according to the time limit set, and a post-room briefing. For many, $25 to $30 per person is about average. One consideration they likely are what people might be willing to pay. So the business likely considered what types of alternative group activities a customer might be interested in, say, hang out at a go-kart, karaoke, or something else you can do with friends. In pricing the admission, they may have considered that you can set up the puzzles in the room to not only accommodate a larger group, but require a certain number of people to be a success. That minimum number of people can be used as a baseline figure to assure that the operating the room will bring sufficient revenue. But then, of course, assume groups are usually larger than that. So for many rooms, the capacity allowed can vary from those that tend to be 4 to 7 to a large room for up to 10 to 12 players. So some escape rooms also have price-related promotions. So a discount if you fail the room and want to retry it, or extra hints if you can connect or check in via social media, so supplementary service. One location has 3 interrelated rooms, so they explain if you get through the first room, you can start immediately on the second. Go fast enough, and Legend X iteration notes you could do 3 rooms for the price of 1. They'll also do something where if you run out of time, you can buy extra time. Another escape room invites testers to the room and gives a 50% discount. So any promotional technique that encourages groups are likely to be useful, such as being on a Groupon or offering incentives to businesses looking to have a fun team-building exercise for their employees. So in sum, price can be a strategic tool and not only acts as a revenue, but it also acts as information for customers, and adjusting the price can adjust demand for the service. So place addresses the way we make sure the service is made available to the customer. Include things like where the service is physically located, if any, how many are in a certain area, service hours, and so on. In general, distribution channels are usually super short, where they don't rely on intermediaries. The service provider and producer, rather, often needs more direct contact with the customer for proper service delivery. So place strategy is largely dependent on 1, how or who the services are rendered to, and number 2, the extent the service is specialized. So many services require the customer to actually go there or be there. This will influence your channel strategy. With the advent, though, of internet and digital tech, we do have quite a bit more flexibility in this regard. For example, an insurance sales agent need not be worried that a customer has to get to their office. They can set up a video chat and give their sales pitch. Or the fact that there are apps now for helping to connect customers to services. Number 2, the extent the service is specialized is also even more important than ever. If the service is highly specialized and considered non-substitutable to the customer, then the customer is more willing to seek you out and go to you. You're more easily able to place yourself based on other considerations. You don't have to worry that customers will deduct value from your product based on less costs. However, if you are a service in which customers do not feel you are specialized, it's more important to consider how much you do get your service to your customer winning where they need it. Some firms like pet washing services differentiate from the dozens of other pet washing services by coming to you. One prototypical example is how fast food is often areas that its users find convenient, such as by freeways, shopping areas, malls, around busy thoroughfares, and so on. Many are located as standalone separate buildings away from strip malls so they can accommodate drive-thrus. The case of the grocery store largely depends on the type of clientele it serves and type of market it is. Many of the general grocery store brands like Albertsons or Ralph's relies on those who live in close proximity so that they're convenient. Some also rely on being by major areas where people are likely to shop or stop on the way home from work or other errands. Some grocery stores are more specialized where they can count on customers seeking them out. For example, you can have the one grocery store that offers a variety of ethnic foods or specializes in high-quality fish. Grocery stores, of course, also have to account for the cost of having a location that's large enough to accommodate the shopping area, inventory, and delivery sections. So in general, grocery stores tend to be numerous and focus on having multiple outlets based on customer convenience. The relative availability likewise means customers tend to not seek out particular brands unless they really have some sort of point of difference. So in this image, 99 Ranch Market started as a specialist grocery store as opposed to Ralph's or Albertsons. 99 Ranch offers a wide variety of foods used in Chinese cooking. However, they don't also limit themselves. They've now expanded to locate near larger Asian American populations, and they notably have expanded their product assortment to be Asian food products in general. So you can see that they're trying to specialize, but that they can't take that for granted. On the other hand, escape rooms are super specialized services. They can expect customers to seek out their services rather than relying on the gas station and fast food model. Escape rooms, therefore, can try to minimize costs by seeking out places with cheap rent in terms of the spaces they get. So you will often find them in large, nondescript warehouse buildings, attached into dead parts of a mall, or out of the way business parks. Customers are able to find them through the internet and other means, so escape rooms need not worry that they have to prominently display themselves next to a freeway or within easy distance of a local city center. So Countdown Live Escape's Las Vegas location is nestled among many mechanics, warehouses, and other business suppliers. They are likewise joined by other types of specialty entertainment services that require large spaces, but can assume customers will seek them out, like indoor bounce houses and indoor go-kart racing. So in sum, as with any product, place is heavily determined by customer needs and other firm objectives. Promotion, again, refers to the communications that helps bring about exchange, includes all the pre-purchase information and interactions, the purchase itself, and any communication done after the purchase has been made. Many service providers follow the relationship marketing model, where they take the long view of serving the customer from a long-term perspective, as opposed to a particular set of transactions. There are plenty of promotions done, such as newsletters, email, little reminder cards that you should get your oil changed, and so on. Oddly enough, my child's dentist did not just immediately schedule her next 6-month appointment right away. Instead, we're getting texts and emails reminding us that we should schedule our child's next dental appointment. They'll also send out a feedback form immediately after we've completed the last visit, and a reminder card and email to affirm that we know we should be coming in. Promotion used vary according to the firm's objectives. Are you new? Do customers know who you are? Is there an added service, perhaps? So the La Mirada Theater wants to promote a happy and calm theater-going experience. Forgetting to print out your tickets or having to wait in line at will call windows makes for stressed customers. Therefore, a day or two before your scheduled performance, they send an email out to reminding customers to print out tickets and even attach it to the email. Here's another example of an objective. Firms might need to stress more basic information and stoke primary demand if they're early in the life cycle. So we see plenty of this with escape rooms, where they have extensive, frequently asked FAQ pages, where the top question is usually, what is an escape room and are we really locked in? Unlike the grocery store, escape rooms are a new service concept, so customers are more likely to be unsure of what to do or even if they want the service. Grocery stores don't have to worry about primary demand, meaning customers know what they're for, but they instead have to work on cultivating that selective secondary demand by stressing why they should go to your store in particular. So the major considerations we have for promoting services are, first, services tend to have many promotions that are based in giving customers tangible cues of the service. So customers, we have a terrible time evaluating quality. Promotions can overcome that intangibility issues by stressing concrete associations. So friendliness in the neighborhood clerk, the stickers the checkout stand person gives to your kids, services that humanize by using spokespersons or a mascot. Number two, services often rely more heavily on that personal interaction. So you have to make procedures and interaction more important. So good training can go a long way to allow that more consistent service delivery. Another aspect of promotion is it's used to build a consistent organizational image, your brand, Per our talk on product, we know services are easily copied. There are fewer protections as there are with physical inventions. So what to do? You make sure your promotions and other parts of your mix are consistent and integrated to deliver a consistent message for what your organization is all about. So your brand promise. Post-purchase communication is more prominent with services last of all. Per our prior point about relationship marketing, service organizations are much more aware and likely to engage in post-purchase communication. So while Apple assumes that you can keep in touch based on your good-centered commercials, often the personalized nature of services makes it more apt to have more types of post-purchase communications. Remember, our service quality factors, reliability and responsiveness somewhat, but they're a big boost toward assurance and empathy. So as examples, grocery stores, they know most of their customers understand the concept and so focus on selected demand, come to our store. They know grocery shopping happens semi-frequently, so their ads are likely very frequent. They have ads that both stress particular stores and advertisements that stress the larger store brand. Ads specific to location go only to those likely living in an area, so they're mailed by local address. Meanwhile, an ad cultivating demand for the general store brand that apply to broader audiences can be on the TV or radio and have that more mass communication. Meanwhile, escape rooms, new product concept, so the organizations are both encouraging the growth of their product concept as a whole and cultivating selective demand for that particular room. So it's a specialized service, so they focus on driving interest based on where likely customers are reading or learning about them. They likely use techniques that are more likely to let customers have more information, especially visual information, to better understand that product concept. This is particularly important because their main selling point is how it's an immersive experience. So in sum, promotions are all about communication of all sorts. Services especially focus on the way it aids their relationship marketing through consistent and continued outreach to their customers and the ways interaction can heavily impact the performance and customer reception of that service. So one of our newer P's is people, the extent that people, the employees, customer, and even other customers and bystanders are part of that service performance. If you remember from our service quality section in the last slide deck, we learned that services are much harder for customers to evaluate because there are so few tangible cues. Therefore, the employee-customer interaction and the employees themselves are big sources of cues. So the person rendering the service, of course, has to actually do it right. But if you remember, their ability to instill confidence, show empathy, and be responsive are very important to customers in terms of assurance, empathy, and responsiveness. The fact that service members are real-life people that customers can see and hear mean they are also effectively the tangible environment. Customers will look at how they behave or are dressed to assess quality. Disney is well known for their frontline employees. They are called cast members to stress they're part of the act to make a splendid experience for the customers, which they call guests. There is also a large list of requirements for how the cast member should look and what they should say. For example, the importance of smiling or going beyond. Disney isn't the only one either. You can likely remember a job that dealt with customers, whether in fast food, sales, or anything else where you had to modify your behavior for your customer. Grocery stores. Employees are very important for grocery stores in both routine situations and unique situations. Customers expect courteous and prompt help at the check stand or at specialty counters like bakery or butchery. Customers also expect prompt and courteous help if they need something, such as getting something off the top shelf or figuring out where something is. Grocery stores may encourage other types of employee-customer interactions, such as through samples or a door greeter. A set of Albertsons stores began to reduce the number of self-checkout stands because they were not always saving customers time compared with the employee, and the employee had the added benefit of giving better, more personalized service that customers valued more than anyone originally thought. So the images of, say, Sprouts employees show that each of them wear the signature green shirt, make them readily identifiable to customers. Escape rooms. Employees are very important because they explain the rules and procedures, help to introduce the room and set the tone, and supply hints. The players are timed, so when they need a hint, the employees have to quickly know what puzzles have been solved, what remain, and how exactly they're stuck. If the hint gives too much away, it's not fun. If the hint's too hard, the players get angry. Employees also monitor the rooms to maintain the safety of the players, and the rooms and the props for that matter. They may also have to directly activate or interact with the players. For example, some horror bases have employees that surprise, or rather scare, the employees, or they have to act as zombies that can attack players. In some, employees are often a major contributor to the service. 6 is physical environment. So these are all tangible cues that are part of the services, from brochures to lighting and beyond. So they are a major part of how services deliver value because customers, they have a hard time evaluating quality. This is the big theme. And these can help. So for example, you can imagine how at a personal accountant's office, customers may wish to see an orderly environment where perhaps the person's credentials on the wall clearly displayed for all to see. Customers might get worried if at the accountant's office there are stacks of paper everywhere or a dead plant. The personal accountant may also have items that directly help with services such as desks, filing cabinets, computers, adequate lighting, and tables and chairs for clients. This also includes the quality of the paper that the reports and billing statements come in when mailed to customers. In the case of the grocery store and escape room, both heavily rely on physical environment to promote service and types of customer behavior. So the grocery store wants to ensure the customer has the info and products they need to make decisions. You cannot have the store too large or too small. The aisles have to be large enough to handle the traffic you expect, but also not so large that customers feel swallowed up. Some stores like Trader Joe's may have a particular motif to emphasize their brand. The escape room is built on offering an experience, so the lobby is usually plain and stark, such as a single desk and a few chairs for people signing in, to heighten the contrast when you enter the room. Square Escape has Polaroid pictures of all the groups that escape, where the customers are allowed to customize the message they place. The physical environment is especially important because it is vital to service delivery. Usually the customers are in the room alone. The theme and so you have to set it in such a way the environment delivers the puzzle, but the environment also must maintain the theme and be safe for the participants. So you'll see ferns with giant stickers to let you know that this is an electrical box, please don't touch it. There are ample decorations in the room according to the theme. They may even have music playing on loudspeakers. For example, a Sherlock Holmes room might start with your timer and the jaunty theme from the recent Holmes film to go along with the searching participants start to do when they first enter the room. In sum, physical environment is super important because customers use them as cues of quality, and you actually have to render the service. Last item is process. Process refers to the procedures, mechanisms, and flow of activities by which the service is created and delivered. As we explained, there are plenty of firms that may make a car or give you a haircut, but it's a matter of how they do it. What flavor of product are you getting? Is it service with a smile, or service with plenty of fancy extras like expecting you'll get that free alcoholic drink or cookie on first class? Is it a matter that your haircuts perform with people dressed in a sports motif and gives you chit-chat that has sports puns? It's perhaps that the service is primarily in the background, leaving you and your co-diners to do most of the work, but also to be largely left alone. There may be limits to how a service can be rendered. After all, a dog grooming service needs to have your dog actually there. But they can choose whether to allow you to drop off your dog and go shopping, or whether you have to stay there in the room or in the waiting room. So grocery stores have few concrete services that most customers go through. Namely, you collect what you want to buy, and most are available for you to self-serve, but some, like deli, bakery, or butcher, will have an added person. and then you either go through self-checkout or the check stand manned by clerks to purchase your items. Due to the nature of having so many different types of customers with different needs, most of the other service procedures are activated on an as-needed basis. There are plenty of background procedures like product assortment choice, stocking, inventory arrangement, and decorations that go on in the background which customers only see the tangible aftermath. Here you can see Fresh and Easy experiment with a scan as you shop procedure using the mobile checkout in 2012. And Aldi has self-checkout process tips posters. And you can imagine that Amazon self-checkout is going to be interesting to see. Here is an example for escape rooms. Escape rooms are more structured in terms of the major steps, pre-briefing, entry, playthrough, and exit, but the player themselves choose how they approach the puzzles. There are also procedures for how they can ask for a hint, or what the employees do if they notice the players might be doing something unsafe. There are procedures if the employees might need to provide information or scare in the middle of the playthrough. There are procedures for how customers accept liability clauses, so some have really super long forms or tablets. There are plenty of ways organizations can tailor the experience. For example, Square Escape will take a Polaroid picture of your team, complete with little accessories to hold, to post on the wall of escapees to help cement your victory. They also have a policy to agree to take a picture of your team with your personal camera or phone camera, and will do so even if you don't escape. You just don't get that prize Polaroid. So in sum, services are all about the performance, how they're rendered. So the processes that are used to enact the performance are very important. They're important to plan out and execute properly. Customers usually won't see most of them, but they can tell when there's a breakdown. So remember, the way you can see how services are rendered versus goods, here's the major takeaways, and big idea is use your own examples if you need to. And remember, the way institutions manage their marketing is a bit different based on the types of customers and end users they serve. So for arts marketing, they act more like a general marketing relationship. You can imagine that other organizations like hospitals, prisons, and others will be slightly different in how they characterize their services and operate to different groups. So here's an example of, Jian He learned in what ways potential patients evaluated healthcare services to encourage them to use the hospitals rather than other medical alternatives. Siemens, the maker of the ad and B2B seller to the hospitals, must face their own constraints. There are lots of other talks and videos out there about different types of institutional markets, like the arts, healthcare, public agencies, and so on. As I said before, companies that market to them are often prolific, and when it comes to making commercials that feature their customers effectively, you want to show the value your organization can bring them, and likewise what they can do for their customers. So, apply the 7 services P's to the service related to your product. And yes, if you are doing a service now, try to do something different, just to say and see what you can do. So consider, what are the service providers, retailers, wholesalers, and competing providers that are involved? What are the core benefits? What are the secondary benefits? How does this vary by segment? How might this inform your strategy? What factors are more related to the customer? How might this impact others? So give this a shot. And this brings us to our looking back slides. So again, big idea is we went over product management, branding, and services marketing. You want to know why we bother with these and what we can do to better tailor and improve our mix. So I hope you're having a good day or afternoon, and this is your instructor encouraging you to run with these ideas and especially your own.